James, good to see you in the flesh again. How is it going at the conference?
Pretty good, Rodney. Early days, but it's good to see. I think a lot of people expecting different moods given market changes, but everyone's upbeat, and I think it augurs pretty well that people are still there, and the long-term future looks pretty good.
As I said on the panel, when I have to put a tie on, then you know we're deep in the bear market territory. So, James, if we can just talk a little about North American lithium. There's been a lot going on there. Certainly, it looks like you've had a good run of it in fair weather in ramping up the project.
Sure. Yeah, Rodney, it'll be good. I think particularly when we come up to our quarterly results, and we want to give a holistic view of what we've done in production cost-wise. And moving through the ramp-up, obviously you've been monitoring a lot of them previously, and I've been involved in a few. And this has been, all of them are challenging, but we've had different challenges across the board, and I think we're through most of those now, and the resolutions have been good. The team on site, led by Sylvain Collard and his team, have been probably the best I've seen in regards to problem solving and putting the energy where it needs to be. And you know, I think people look at the results in January, and we talk to people, and they see 11 or 12,000 tonnes, and they ask us where we need to be, and we'll say, look, 18 or 19,000 tonnes per month. And it's the way we get to that number, and we ratchet the project up, and we pressure test all of our systems, and we're at that point now. So couldn't be happier, to be honest.
So you are at that number?
We'll have it out of the quarterlies, but the ramp up is in a trajectory that takes us to that number, yeah. So.
And just some of the challenges that you were facing that you've overcome?
Yeah, I think probably it's been I've been quite open with the ramp up and the challenge we've had to keep our investors and stakeholders abreast of what we are doing. And it is a restart of an operation, so we're dealing with a lot of infrastructure that's in place, and we've had to work around that. And that gives us limitations in regards to redundancy of the flow sheet and the process. And particularly when you look at utilisation rates and availability rates, we've split the plant in half for assessment purposes. So everything post the crushing and grinding circuits are really our process circuits, and they've outperformed from very early in the piece, and that's been pleasing, because that's generally one of the difficult parts to get right, like our reagent uses, our frothing, our recovery, our limbs and WIMs, and everything we do to reduce our deleterious elements in the cargoes have worked really well. I've been quite pleased with those. What we have is a lot of intensity, and the capital's gone into the front end of the crushing and grinding circuits, and we're operating NAL at levels that hasn't operated before. So we're targeting throughput of 175 tonnes per hour, and that takes us to where we need to be. So we've installed the crushed ore dome now, which is in use, which came online in early May. And we've got the process refeed system, which gives us the redundancy around any primary crusher issues. Our ore sorters are working reasonably well. We're doing a pre-sort on the ROM pad to make sure the philosophy is quite simple. We don't want any material into the plant to try and then take it out. We just don't have it going in the first place. So we've changed the way we operate in the mine. We've had some challenging mining conditions because we are working in some old underground stopes, so we're backfilling and mining through those. So it hasn't been an easy one, but I think once we move through those processes, then I think it gives us a really good shot to improving on what we expect.
And James, in terms of envisaged grade and what you're achieving on the material?
Consistently, we've reported it's in line with our reports, so around 5.4, 5.5 lithium oxide percentage. Iron, we were a medium grade product, about 1.5% Fe2O3. Mica's not an issue. Moisture running at about 6 to 7% for an all fines product, so it's pretty good, and it's consistent across the board.
And is there sort of benefits on the cost side per tonne as you ramp?
Yeah, look, obviously the lowest hanging fruit is to get more tonnes and divide our fixed cost by more tonnes, and that's what we want to deliver this quarter. From the other perspective, we've had, when we purchased NAL in 2021, we've gone through an approvals process which has required us to re-permit, look at the water management plan, have a bit of equilibrium in the way the pit looks. We've had new discoveries, if you've seen, we've released quite recently. So the mine plan's changed. We've had to have additional costs to establish the mine, We've had a bit of overhaul because we've got to utilise a waste facility which is further away. All that starts to peel back as we move through the cycle and we get back into the heart of where we are. So, essentially the recoveries, we've reported at the end of the first quarter we're above design. So we've maintained that momentum and recovery, which is always difficult. It's just managing now, reducing our operational costs by further tonnes and a few more efficiencies.
And then if we move on to exploration, you've had some great intercepts that look better than the original pit.
Yeah, and I think and it's a good point, Rodney, because we've invested in both North American Lithium and our other Tier 1 project in Moblan, and exploring both of those. And this was exploration drilling, not so much mine extension drilling. But I know when Silva and I were up there in probably May 2023, I think, probably looking at where we could move and what the potential was at NAL, and we've tested areas that hadn't been tested before. And I think it's the simplistic way to probably appreciate what we had. We had a data set that hadn't had a lot of revisions since earlier the last decade due to restraints and the markets we operated in. So we've had one intersection which is 60 metres at 1.6% true thickness. Don't get me wrong on the numbers, but we reported one I think a week ago, and it was about another 55 metres at 1.5%. So these are globally significant intercepts, and it's really opening up the optionality, I think, as we think of the future for North American Lithium.
Okay, that's great. And just lastly, what are you hoping to take away from the conference the rest of your time here?
Well, I think one of the things that it offers, it gives us an opportunity to interact with our peers, and that's been important. A lot of us have been in this industry for a long time, and a lot of us are in different roles than we were a long time ago. And it gives us an opportunity where everyone's in the same vicinity that would normally take a lot of time to get to that. I think that the way the conference has evolved a little bit more from a resources showcasing perspective to a lot of the service providers and innovation perspective. So there's a lot of ability to interact with both types of groups. And then to top that off, you've got a significant investor base here. So a lot of the fund managers are here. A lot of the banking institutions are here, and people we've known over the years and funding these projects. And it's a great opportunity to in a location that facilitates itself, easy to get to, good size. And I mean, we could probably do without the 44-degree heat, but in the end, it just gives us that opportunity to interact quite simply and regularly.
Great. Thanks very much for joining.
Thanks, Rodney. Thanks for having me.